Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Orcust deck. So I'm really excited to do this one because it's kind of like a bonus deck for the Shadow week-long extravaganza, because I'm playing a small Shadow engine in this deck that makes the deck really fun. Now this deck can be competitive, it's a really competitive deck right now, and I hope on the next list they don't hit it too bad where it's not playable anymore, because it's one of my favorite decks, and I actually went out of my way to gather up all the cards like Dingritsu and all the Orcust cards, and it's a really beautiful, fun deck. I love the artwork of the deck. I love the way it plays. I think it's a super fun deck that I would definitely carry to a regionals or a YCS. And I think that this is a pretty good competitive build that I'm actually going to show you guys. And it's super fun. So without further ado, guys, let's get straight on this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad. And let's get straight on into this one. So, first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Orcust Harp Horror. Harp Horror is one of the best main deck monsters in the entire deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon an Orcust monster from your deck, so just instantly special summons any of them that you want, and also you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except dark monsters, which is not that big of a deal because the majority of the stuff in the extra deck is dark. Now that we don't have Nightmare Mermaid. Nightmare Mermaid getting banned, I think, was a really good step for this deck because it was really getting out of control and being in everything, where you could just make Orcust and then, go Orcust into Nightmare, Cerberus, or Phoenix, and then link one of them away for the Nightmare Mermaid, and then go from there, where you summon the Orchestrated Nightmare and then go crazy with this deck, where you ended with like a really crazy board. So then I'm playing 2 copies of Orcust Symbol Skeleton. Symbol Skeleton is a really good card in this deck to me because I see a lot of people play it as a one-of, but I always find that I run out of steam too quickly when I play 1, so I play 2. You can banish it from your graveyard to target an Orcust monster in your graveyard, and then special summon it so you can get extra abilities off. And then I play 1 copy of Brass Bombard. I feel like a single Brass Bombard is not going to brick us, and it's not a problem, but sometimes you will end in a board where you have a Orcust in the hand that you need to get out of your hand, and I sometimes will end with like a Orcust Nightmare in my hand and I can't do anything with it, and so I use this to get it out of my hand onto the field. It's really easy to get this card into the graveyard, and you basically just banish it to special summon an Orcust monster from your hand to unbrick your hand. So it's a really good card. I play 2 copies of Orcust Nightmare. Orcust Nightmare is still, to me, a good 2 of. It cannot be destroyed by battle with a link monster, and you can banish this card from your grave to target a monster in your grave, and then send a Dark Machine monster from your deck to the grave. And if you do, the targeted monster gains attack equal to the level of the monster times 100 on the field, which is pretty good. It's a good card as a 2 of. I probably wouldn't play it at any more than 2. I see people playing it at 3, but I feel like it's going to break at 3. 1 copy of World Wand. World Wand is good because you can banish it from your graveyard, or if it's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a World Legacy monster from your hand. But the really good effect about this is if it's sent to the graveyard, you can banish it from your grave and then target a monster that's banished, that's an Orcust, and then special summon it back. So all of your Orcusts banish each other to be able to do different effects to special summon and get you more resources. So World Wand kind of puts that back and goes, wait a minute, let's put one from the banish back on the field so we can get more resources. Then we play 3 copies of Scrap Recycler. Scrap Recycler is super good in the deck. It's kind of like Armageddon Knight almost, but better. It lets you send, when it's normal summon, a machine type monster that's level 4, I believe. You get to select and send a machine monster from your deck to the graveyard. Oh no, it's any machine monster. You just normal summon this and send any one machine monster from your deck to the graveyard. And then it also has the effect of you can return 2 Earth machine monsters from your graveyard in your deck, and then if you do, draw a card. So if you already sent 2 of them to the graveyard, you can just get the 3rd one to send them back and then get you to draw a card. So that's pretty good. It has to be level 4, so you can't put them back. So anyways, Gizmek Yada, Gizmek Orochi, the Serpentine Sky Slasher, I play as a 1 of. I'm not that worried about banishing. Once I get certain cards in the graveyard, I'm not that worried about it. So I play this as a 1 of in the deck to be kind of like an pseudo boss monster for the deck. So it's just a good 1 of. Then for my Shaddoll package, I play a single copy of Beast, a single copy of Dragon, and a single copy of Falcon. Or Falco. The reason I play these is because it's really, I see people play this deck and they only play a Beast and a Dragon. And I'm like, okay, what happens if I draw the Beast and the Dragon? And then my Shaddoll fusions are gone. Or I use both of them up. I want to have 3 in the deck because it makes it easier for me to fusion summon out my Shaddolls. And plus, I feel like Falco is like an unsung hero in the deck. Late game, or after, if you use it as your fusion summon and your fusion monster gets destroyed, they have to get rid of the Falco first before they get rid of the fusion monster, or else the fusion monster comes back. So Falco to me is a really good card in the deck as a 1-of. Then I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom for my final 3 monsters in the main deck. Really good option to play the 3 Ash Blossoms. They're just really good. They're probably the best hand trap in the entire game, so that's why I play it as a 3-of. So that's it for the main deck monsters. Let's get into the spells, guys. So the spells I play a little bit differently than your average Orcust player, I think, but I think everybody's kind of still playing around with this deck and doing different things. So I play a single copy of Orcust Babel, or Orchestrated Babel. Babel basically makes it so your Orcust monsters' effects are quick effects, which is pretty good, as long as you can only activate if you have a Link monster you control as an Orcust monster. So, it also has the effect of during your main phase, this card's in your graveyard, you can send a card from your hand to the grave and then add it back. So it makes them always quick effects once you search this one time. Foolish Burial, because all of your cards benefit off of being in the graveyard. 2 copies of Orchestrated Return. I play 2 Orchestrated Return. It is searchable, but it's really good with the amount of Orcust monsters we play in the main deck. I play 8 in the main deck, so it's just live all the time. You send an Orcust or a World Legacy monster from your hand or face up from your field to the grave to draw 2 cards. So the other cool thing about this is World 1 plays into this as well, so it's technically 9, which is cool. Then I play 3 copies of Call by the Grave. Call by the Grave just stops our opponent from hand trapping us. 3 copies of Super Poly. Super Poly is really good in here as well, because Super Poly lets us fusion summon our copies of Winda, or our copy of Construct, or Starving Venom, or Mud Dragon if we need to break a board that our opponent has. 3 copies of Shaddol Fusion, so we can fusion summon what we need when we need it, of our Shaddolls. And if our opponent controls a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can actually special summon using monsters in your main deck as materials, which is really cool. Then I play 3 copies of Mind Control. Mind Control, if we're always going to go second in this deck. Every Shadow deck, you go second. So Mind Control lets us take our opponent's monster, use it as a material for a Link play, or a Fusion play, or something that we need. Usually we end on a Shadow Fusion play, but sometimes you want to start with like a Galatea, so you can use this to make Galatea really easily. And then we play 3 copies of Instant Fusion as well. The 3 Instant Fusions are really good in here because basically they let us go into Millenniumize Restrict or Thousanize Restrict or Shadow Winda. You can actually go into Winda, and then her effect is if she's sent to the graveyard, you get to add a Shadow spell or trap directly from your grave to your hand. So this lets you add... when this face-up card is sent to the field to the graveyard, you can target a Shadow spell or trap in your grave and add back to your hand. So you can use this to grab one of your Shadow Fusions back from your graveyard if you want to, but it's really here for Millenniumize Restrict. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. Now, I do play something... I know everybody plays this, but I play it at 2. And that is 2 copies of Crescendo. Your opponent usually is expecting the first one, but it's kind of a mental game to play the second one. It is searchable, but it is not even bad to hard once, or it's not even bad to hard draw this at all. Because as long as you have a Link monster that's an Orcust monster in your side of the field, which is always going to be always... This card's live. Its Infernity Barrier negates spells, traps, or monster effects while you control an Orcust Link monster. Negate the activation if you do banish the card, and then you can banish this card in your graveyard to add from your deck to your hand an Earth Machine monster that is banished or in your graveyard, banished or in your deck, and you cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect except Dark Machines, which is not a big deal, because you can actually activate this and activate or add the Sky Slasher, the Gizmic Orochi monster. You can search that because it is a Dark Machine monster. Search that directly from your deck to your hand, which is a really good option later in the game. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing Double Dingritsu, the Orcust of the Evening Star. Basically, this card is our in-game board. It's the big boss of the deck. You can make it by overlaying it on top of a Orcust monster, Orcust Link monster, which is pretty interesting. It's one of the first XYZ monsters that's able to do that. And it also has the ability that If a card you control be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can detach a material from this card instead. And it's plural, so it's any cards. So if they Dark Hole, it protects them all. If you Raigeki, it protects them all. If they destroy by battle, it protects that one monster. And it also has the ability that you can, if it's special summon, you can activate one of the effects. Either send a card your opponent controls to the graveyard, does not target, or attach one of your banished machine monsters to this card as a material. Usually you're going to want to get rid of your opponent's resources and send one card they control to the graveyard. Then we play and Longritsu Orcust Orchestrator or Longritsu. I usually make it. It's there. It takes a link monster, including an Orcust monster and 2 effect monsters, and it can be link summoned, cannot be destroyed by battle. And then you can target 2 of your banished machine monsters and shuffle them into the deck. Then you can send a linked monster your opponent controls to the graveyard, and this card cannot attack the turn you activate and resolve this effect. But it's really good for spot removal of your opponent's cards. Triple Galatea. Galatea is the monster you're going to make all the time in this deck. If it's link summoned, it can't be destroyed by battle. If it's a linked, it can't be destroyed by battle, and you can target one of your banished machine monsters, shuffle it into the deck, and then you can set an Orcust spell or trap directly from your deck. I feel like on the next ban list, this is going to be the one that they hit. I feel like they're going to put her at 1, and I feel like it's going to really hinder what the deck can do after that. That I feel like they are going to hit Galatea, because the deck can still function without 3 Galateas, but it's difficult. So I feel like they're going to put her at 1. Just to go ahead and plant my flag. I feel like she's going to go to 1. I play a Boral Sword because you can OTK with it. I play a Linkuriboh because you can use it with Millennium Eyes and Thousand Eyes to make this, and it makes the deck really, really, good to be able to stop your opponent from hand trapping you and stuff like that with the Millennium Eyes and the Thousand Eyes. With the Millennium Eyes being able to stop hand traps and the Thousand Eyes being able to stop monster effect or gobble up monsters. 1 copy of Construct for Super Poly. You don't ever summon this out of the main deck because you don't play any light targets, but you can summon it off the Super Poly really easily. 2 copies of Winda. Winda's the Shadow target that you're going to be making all the time in this deck to be able to control your opponent. Once you establish a board and have like Galatea on the field and a Dingritsu, you can summon this as well and make it so your opponent can't special summon. I always end with a Winda. I don't start with a Winda. That's something that you have to keep in mind when you're playing this deck, because it will hinder you because you're going to special summon a lot, and then this is going to really stop you from doing that. 1 copy of Starving Venom for the Super Poly as well. Mud Dragon for Super Poly as well. And then Millennium Eyes Restrict for instant fusion to stop card effects like your hand traps and stuff like that. And then Thousand Eyes Restrict to gobble up monsters and take them off your opponent's field, and for Linkuriboh as well. So that's it for the Orcust deck, guys. It's a really good competitive deck that I think is going to be solid for a long time. I feel like it's going to be like BA. It's going to get hit, but it's going to, evolve and become something else. I really think it'd be fair if they hit this and put this to 1. Like, put this at 1 and then give us a crescendo and, give us 1 crescendo, 1 of these, and let us go. Like, let it go and see what the deck does. I don't feel like it's going to be broken at that point. I feel like it would be okay. I think it become like tier 1.5 at that point. So I think it'd be a good warning shot. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell notification, become part of the notification squad. Tell me what you think of the Shadow extravaganza that we just had on the channel. And I'm really excited to, do more of those kind of events where we're going to do all sorts of different of the same deck profile over and over again. But it's different versions of the same, like, Shadows. Like, it can be splashed in so many decks. I think that's really cool. Maybe we'll do an invoked one. I don't know. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell notification, become part of the notification squad. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.